We encourage not to talk about on three topics: politics, religion, and sex. With that, now I would like to hand over the charge to the acting president of Karachi Toastmasters.
She's the president.
Okay, she's there.
Yeah.
Great. Now it's time for me to hand over the charge to the president of Karachi Toastmasters Club. She has served Karachi Toastmasters Club a number of times as Sergeant-at-Arms, Treasurer, and Secretary. Now she's serving as president. Please give her a big round of applause. Please welcome. Toastmaster Eka, the virtual stage is yours.
Acha. Good evening, good morning from whichever part of the world you are in. Toastmasters is a public speaking platform where people from all walks of life from different walks of life come together to improve their leadership skills as well as public speaking skills. It was founded back in 1924 by Ralsei Smedley in Englewood, Colorado. It has more than 350,000 club members worldwide and located in more than 200 to 300 clubs worldwide. And DTM Talha, do we have any guests physically present at in the Orchard Room at Beach Luxury?
Well, I'm still counting the number of physical guests. I will report soon. But right now, perhaps you can take introduction from Toastmaster Lydia Norman from Leaders Worldwide. And in the meantime, I'll ask all the physical guests also to come on the stage and introduce themselves. All right?
Okay. So, TM Lydia, please could you introduce yourself to the audience?
Hello, I am Lydia Norman from Las Vegas, Nevada, USA. And I am a member of Leaders Worldwide Toastmasters.
Okay. And do we have any announcements to make, DTM Talha?
Yes, we do actually. So the first announcement is that, of course, our we had our last week's meeting exactly 1 week ago, and here are the winners from last week's meeting. Best Speaker Popular was won by Toastmaster Elvin Faraz, Best Big Four by DTM Surprise, Best Evaluator by DTM Surprise, and Best Facilitator by Toastmaster Wasi Ahmed as listener, and Best Table Topics by Toastmaster Umair Ahmed. Critics' Choice, the ranking was third place Toastmaster Elvin Faraz, second place Toastmaster Abdullah Yusuf, and first place DTM Surprise. Other than that, we also had our international speech contest on Sunday, and there the winners were in this order. So the third place went to Toastmaster Majid Akhtar, the second place went to Toastmaster Fahim Razak, and first place went to Toastmaster Anam Fazli. On Saturday, we plan to have our academy meeting online, which will be resuming after a while, since there was contest season and everything. So with that, if you allow me, I will invite the guests present physically to introduce themselves one by one.
Sure,
Is that okay?
go ahead.
All right. So if you can come one by one, starting from here on the stage, and introduce yourself and where you're from, etc. Right? So yeah, grab a cup of coffee.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. My name is Said Hamad. This is my first time for Toastmaster Karachi physical meeting, and I'm from NED University. I'm studying from NED University in third year civil engineering department.
Thank you so much, Mark. Please.
Good evening. I am Mohammad Hamza. I am from Lahore, and currently I am associated with Power Cement Limited as a training engineer. I have quite recently completed my bachelor's in mechanical engineering. and working on renewable technology.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhammad Mehdi. I'm as a business development officer in Power Cement Limited. I'm biochemical engineer by my profession, and this is third time here in my as a guest. Soon I will be in the next week. I will be the Toastmasters.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay.
There are more.
Hello,
Just be a
Assalamu
little
alaikum.
patient.
My name is Mohammad Ilyas Naim, and I am second year computer science student from ND University. And this is my first time at Toastmaster Club as a guest. And soon, inshallah, we will join as a Toastmaster.
Great. Thank you so much.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Haidar. I am a student of ND University. Currently pursuing my career as economics and finance. And this is my first time in physical Toastmaster session.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mehdi and I am a student of ND University, currently pursuing my degree in material engineering.
Hello, this is Jahania Shah. I am a student of Habib University, currently studying in third year of electrical engineering. It's been so long, I've been following KTC Facebook page, so I wanted to see that how KTC helps individual to speaking and in grooming self. So that's why I'm here as a guest. Inshallah, I will be member.
All right.
Thank you.
Guests and members, you have been warned, especially the members and speakers. Put up your best show today.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Asif Faruqi, and I'm working in Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority as Deputy Director. And I've been in Islamabad. I've landed in Karachi 1 year ago. Before that, I was a member of ICMA, and Toastmaster has been a part of ICMA.
Right.
So I was never there, but now I intend to be a part of Toastmaster. So welcome me.
All right. Our last guest of the day.
Assalamu alaikum. Say good evening, everyone. My name is Nisar Sadi, and I'm a jack of many trades. By the way, it's hard to introduce to Jordan my career track, but professionally, I'm from Pakistan Civil Aviation Authority, serving as a senior assistant director for safety and quality. My core areas of expertise, not expertise, but interest are quality management, human resource management, environmental management, and projects management.
Wow.
Academically, I'm pursuing my career in organizational psychology and aspiring to be a renowned organizational psychologist. This is a new emerging field and have a very impactful and a long career is waiting for myself. Thank you very much, and thank you the organizers giving this platform. I'm really looking forward for a good interactive learning through this platform. And thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you so much. So, all guests, if you can just write your names and numbers here and just pass it along, right? So yes, Toastmaster Hiba, those were the only guests. And of course, we have Toastmaster Diana, who is as good as our member. So over to you.
Okay. We all know him as a very eloquent and a very dynamic speaker. He usually mesmerizes us with his speeches. It's none other than TM Majid Akhtar as the Toastmaster of the day.
Yeah, about that. Actually, he's on the way. So he will be joining us shortly. So in the meantime, let me do the honors so that we can get the meeting on track. So today, the theme of our meeting is very important, staying emotionally intelligent. And, what we've been through over the past 2-3 years, we have been cut down, we have been bounded, we have been confined. And even after the passing of COVID, we are perhaps not on the same social level as we were before. We are more inward looking, perhaps closer to our families, that's the upshot, but also more remote from everyone else. And that is why it is important to stay emotionally intelligent, to recall empathy, and to realize that we cannot and will not exist in a vacuum. Instead, we have to live with each other, and everything that happens outside influences what's happening inside our homes and inside our minds, and vice versa. So with that theme, I welcome you all once again. I'll quickly go through the role players. Our first role player is our grammarian Toastmaster Kareem Meghani. And we have this custom at Karachi Toastmasters Club that we just go ahead and introduce the role players instead of calling them one by one to save time. And today we are behind schedule, so let's stick with that. Grammarian is someone who notes down the language used in the meeting. He or she highlights the good usage and also calls out the errors and suggests better usage, but that is done anonymously. Then we have our timer, Toastmaster Ali Zargan. As you know, everything in Toastmasters is timed. He's already noted that we are half an hour behind schedule. Also, every speech, every evaluation, and every segment has a minimum maximum time. So whenever, for example, you're making a 5 to 7 minute speech, he will show green at 5, yellow at 6, and 7 at red. For table topics, one green at 1, yellow at 1:30, and 2 at red at 2. Yeah, I'm getting it all jumbled up. And similarly for evaluations, it is 2 to 3 minutes. So 2 green, 2:30 yellow, and 3 minutes red. Every time you see the red light, that means you have to finish whatever you're saying in 30 seconds. If you exceed that time, you will be disqualified because you'll be asked to vote at 5 different times during the meeting for best speaker, best evaluator, best table topic speaker, best Big 4 role player, and best facilitator. Next, we have our counter. We don't have an out counter today. Our word master is today Toastmaster Kareem Meghani again. And word of the day is self-efficacy, which means self-care and being self-sufficient while staying in tune with your surroundings. So with that, we have our joke master today, and our joke master is Toastmaster Elvin Faraz. Toastmaster Elvin, go ahead.
Hello, thank you so much. Could you please quickly confirm if you can hear and see me?
Yes.
All right. So the very first joke, let me open up with the seasonal one. What runs faster, hot or cold? Which one runs faster, hot or cold?
Hot would run faster.
Hot runs faster because everyone can catch the cold. All right. Which are the stronger days of the week? Which are the stronger days of the week? Do we have any guesses?
Thursday.
Okay. It's Saturday and Sunday because the rest of them are weekdays. All right. And the last question, where do cows go on dates?
Where do cows go on dates?
Yeah, they go to movies. All right. It's a knock-knock joke, so I need your help on this one. Knock-knock, who's, you say?
Who's there?
It's to.
To who?
It's not to who, it's actually to whom. All right, over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Albert. You are a dad, right? Because those were perfect dad jokes. So our Toastmaster of the day is here. So yeah, I'll let him, gather his senses a bit. And in the meantime, call the first speaker of the day, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan. And ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in our history, there is an Urdu speech that is being performed at Karachi Toastmasters Club stage. The speech will be evaluated by Toastmaster Hina Ali. And just to save time for this meeting too, we are not calling evaluators separately. Instead, the TMOD will introduce the project and the speaker. So the pathway is Motivational Strategies, Level 3. The project is Inspire Your Audience. And in this project, the speaker is supposed to deliver an inspiring talk from which the audience can take away something, and preferably some call to action as well. So today, Toastmaster Rabia Zishan will be delivering her project titled Darya. Everyone, please put your hands together for Toastmaster Rabia Zishan, Darya.
Thank you so much, GTM Talha. I just wanted to confirm, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I'll start now. Achha, okay, where's the timer? Let me see the timer.
Timer is
do we have an online?
Yeah.
Imran Rana. Okay. Okay. Yes, it's spent. ठीक. अस्सलाम वालेकुम. मेरा नाम राबिया ज़ीशान है. मैं द सिटीजन फाउंडेशन से 2018 से मुंसलिक हूँ उनके बागबान प्रोग्राम के साथ. TCF का जो बागबान प्रोग्राम है वो बेसिकली फंड रेजिंग का प्रोग्राम है. और जब मेरी दोस्त ने मुझसे कहा कि राबिया प्लीज आओ ना उसका ओरिएंटेशन अटेंड करो, मैंने कहा नो 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 नो, फंड रेजिंग वो भी मैं, मतलब टू आस्क पीपल फॉर मनी, नो आई कैन नॉट डू दैट. तो उसने कहा कि नहीं नहीं प्लीज आ जाओ, जस्ट अटेंड द ओरिएंटेशन, यू विल सी हाउ इट इम्पैक्ट्स लाइफ. एंड मैंने कहा TCF में पहले ही जानती हूँ, आई ऑलरेडी फंड स्टूडेंट, और मैं फेसबुक पे उसकी पोस्ट भी शेयर कर देती हूँ, तो अवेयरनेस भी हो रही है, फंड रेजिंग भी हो रही है. दैट्स द मोस्ट अ पर्सन कैन डू. इससे ज्यादा मैं क्या कर सकती हूँ. उसने कहा अच्छा छोड़ो, जस्ट कम फॉर द ओरिएंटेशन, वील डिसाइड लेटर ऑन वेदर यू वांट टू ज्वाइन और नॉट. मैंने कहा अच्छा चलो देख लेते हैं. TCF के हेड ऑफिस हम लोग गए, ओरिएंटेशन थी हमारी वहाँ पे. जो साहब हमें ओरिएंटेशन दे रहे थे उन्होंने पूरी प्रेजेंटेशन स्लाइड्स वगैरह बनाई हुई थी, और जबरदस्त किस्म का ऑडिटोरियम, और एक वहाँ पे लोग बैठे हुए, 50 के करीब कोई लोग बैठे हुए. मैंने कहा क्या नई बात बताएंगे. आई ऑलरेडी नो पाकिस्तान में लिटरेसी रेट बहुत खराब है और एजुकेशन के लिए काम करना चाहिए ना, आई एम ऑलरेडी डूइंग इट. बट आप सब लोगों को जानकर हैरानगी होगी, व्हेन द नंबर्स वर कोटेड ड्यूरिंग दैट प्रेजेंटेशन, आई गॉट गूज बम्स, मुझे रोंगटे खड़े हो गए थे, बिकॉज इतने खराब नंबर. वी पाकिस्तान, वी आर इन द बॉटम 10 अराउंड इन द होल वर्ल्ड इन एजुकेशन. Our name comes with countries like Yemen and Nigeria and Niger. It was like a shock for me. He went on, the presenter went on, and he said, around 23 million children do not go to school in Pakistan of the ages 5 to 15. 5 से 15 साल के 23 million बच्चे. It was a huge number for me, but it got more huge when our presenter said that it's almost more than the population of the entire Australian continent. And that was the time I realized कि मुझे education के लिए काम करना है. It's not an option anymore. It's not a charity work. It's my responsibility as a citizen of this society, of this country. और हर एक की जिम्मेदारी है कि वो अपना पार्ट प्ले करें इस काम में, एजुकेशन के काम में. There are two things which I believe are a basic rights of children: clean drinking water and good quality education, and we all should work for it. Citizen Foundation का जो बागबान प्रोग्राम है वो बेसिकली है ही गुड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन के लिए. मैंने प्रोग्राम ज्वाइन कर लिया, जो मैं बिल्कुल नहीं ज्वाइन करना चाह रही थी, और मुझे था कि कौन फंड रेजिंग करेगा, कौन लोगों के जाके कॉल करेगा और उनसे पैसे मांगेगा. इट्स अ हार्ड थिंग टू डू. और कैसे मैं मांगूंगी पैसे, बुरा लगता है ना, मतलब यू आर जस्ट मैसेजिंग समवन और आप उनसे पूछ रहे हैं। जो बागवान प्रोग्राम है उससे मुझे पता चला कि इट्स एन एंटायर टेक्निक। हमारी ट्रेनिंग्स हुई, वी हैड ट्रेनिंग्स ऑलमोस्ट एवरी मंथ, ट्वाइस और थ्राइस टाइम इन अ मंथ, जिसके अंदर हमें टिप्स एंड टेक्निक्स बताए गए ऑन हाउ to strike a conversation about education, on how to approach a prospective donor. हमें बताया गया कि किस तरीके से आपने ask put forward करनी है. We had trainings in storytelling, we had trainings in social media training on how to use your post and your stories and statuses to reach more audience, more targeted audience. We had trainings on how to stand proper, how to talk, basically आप जिससे बात कर रहे हैं उसके मुताबिक उससे बात करना हमें सिखाया गया। अगर आप किसी मल्टी मिलियनियर बिजनेस के ओनर से बात कर रहे हैं तो आप उससे जाके ये नहीं कहेंगे कि एक बच्चे को सपोर्ट करो, आप उससे जाके कहेंगे सपोर्ट अ स्कूल यूनिट। लेकिन अगर आप एक सैलरीड बंदे से बात कर रहे हैं उसको आप कहेंगे कि यू कैन गिव व्हाटएवर यू वांट बट मेक इट कंसिस्टेंट, आप हर महीने दें। क्योंकि एजुकेशन के अंदर व्हाट वी नीड इज regular monthly donations. There are people who give one time a year, but most of the people will be comfortable in giving each month, and that is what Bhagwan taught us. मुझे ये पता चला कि मुझे अचानक जाके किसी से ये भी नहीं कह देना कि आप 24,000 रुपए दे दें और पूरे साल के लिए एक बच्चे को सपोर्ट कर लें. I can make it easier for them. Why don't you give just 2,000 rupees per month? It will be very easy. You can just schedule a payment through your mobile app. And these were the things taught to us by the Bhagwan training program. So Bhagwan, we did not have to go to the school. हमारे पास बच्चों के पास कोई mentorship नहीं थी. उसके बावजूद I learned so much from the Bhagwan program. Now I am amongst a group of volunteers जो इसमें 14 साल से लेकर 70 साल तक के एक diverse group है. And the experiences I get from these people, ये जो how we have doctors, we have engineers, we have bankers, we have housewives, we have people who have retired, who have worked their entire life in the community, and when they come and share their experiences of fundraising, of talking to people, it always inspires you, it always gives you ideas, it always gives you creativity. And for a woman like me who was at home all the time, I gained a lot of perspective, and my horizon increased. Apart from that, I also Bhagwan also provided personal growth. मैंने Google Sheet पहली दफा यूज करना TCF Bhagwan program में सीखी, PowerPoint presentations देना, how to stand in front of a group of audience and talk to them. It was due to TCF Bhagwan program, and there were a lot of other technical skills which I learned. I learned for the first time how to make a Google form and float it to my volunteers because I needed their data. So there are things which we do not consider as achievement. We are not only helping the students, the underprivileged students of our society gain education, but we as ourselves are gaining a lot of personal traits, personal skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills, leadership skills, and each volunteer is also gaining a lot of it. I, as a chapter head, I think I was able to inspire a lot of newcomers, and that's an achievement in itself. When you can give this hope that you have in your heart to give education to even one other person, it's like a chain of good things that can happen. So I would like all of you to join this river of TCF. फर्द कायम रब्ते मिल्लत से है, तन्हा कुछ नहीं, मौज है दरिया में और बैरूने दरिया कुछ नहीं. और मुझे बहुत फख्र है कि मैं TCF के इस दरिया की एक छोटी सी मौज हूँ amongst all of you. Thank you so much. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mahir Akhtar. I'm very grateful to DTM Talab bin Ahmed, the man of crisis. One solution for every problem, DTM Talab bin Ahmed, you see. So, all right. So, one man who can actually take care of any role. All right. So, next speaker is going to be TM Omer Ahmed. He will be delivering the icebreaker. His title of speech is As I Know Him. His evaluator is DTM Sarfraz. So, DTM Sarfraz,
No,
Is
you just
all right?
call
Okay.
me.
So the time of the speech is 4 to 6 minutes. 4 to 6 minutes. Please put your hands together for TM Umair Ahmed.
Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum, Toastmasters and guests. I think there are more guests than Toastmasters. This is my icebreaker, not the first time. I used to be a member of a CA Toastmasters Club since 2018, but I joined KTC recently. While going back to my home I think on Monday, I was thinking about the International Speech Contest, and it was an amazing event. It was kind of thing that I remember that it has really splashed the dopamine in my head, and that self-confidence that I had. Then I also thought that I owe an icebreaker to the members of this Toastmasters Club, and so that they know me, they understand me, from where I am coming, what is my background, and what are my achievements, where I want to go. Starting from my childhood, basically, and my personal trait, basically, I am very introvert person who likes solitude, living in very personal life. I think it is more to do with my my brawl with a boy back in when I was very little, at first class, I think. And that brawl was bad, as I remember, that he punched right into my face, and that really put my tooth out of my mouth. But I kicked him back at a point which I cannot describe right now. So that was a little bit a problem. And I think after that, I started to have that stammering and stuttering problem. That really put a pressure on me when I used to talk with the people. And before that, I was a very good student, doing good at school. But then when this thing happened and that stuttering and stammering started, I was a little bit a backbencher kind of boy. That was hard. I used to participate less in my school, participate less with my teacher. So they were thinking that he's quite dumb and anyway. Going forward, I developed becoming an average student throughout my whole life, throughout my whole life, not now, throughout my whole school life. And then after matriculation, thank God that I had a good friends who really helped me out of this complex situations that I have been having, of thinking that stammering and stuttering is quite a bad thing, and a person who is having it is a person who is physically bare. So because of that, those of my friends, I have developed a little bit of confidence with that. That stammering really hit me hard when I had to say "bul hai" at my marriage. You can understand that it's a very hard thing for a stammerer or stutterer to say these specific alphabets, which requires a kind of impact from your mouth. It's Q. You have to put a pressure to say Q, or maybe sometimes F and S and all these words. So Q was stopping in my throat. Pop, pop, pop. So I resorted to say that yes, mujhe hai. Yes, I accept it. So like this. So my management like this. This was a very hard thing during my whole life to come up to overcome this stuttering and stammering thing, because this really held me back in all my life. Anyway, because after some time, after my marriage, obviously, my wife was really supportive, and she had really helped me out in these things. So I started to gain some confidence in all these things. And in 2014, since 2014, a miracle was about to happen to me until 2018 when I joined CA Toastmasters Club. I remember that when I joined there, the Toastmaster of the day at that time, at that meeting, had asked me how was the meeting and how you rated. My heart was pounding. It was about to come out of my throat, and my hands were quite nervous, and I wasn't about, and I can't think what to say in front of so much people. So I just managed to say things with a little bit stammering and stuttering and all that. And I thought, and after that, I was just relieved that I was done. After going out, I somehow gained some kind of courage to just join it so that I can really overcome all these things and all these stammering, stuttering kind of things. So I joined there and did my first icebreaker, and it was just 4 minutes that I survived at that time. But then bit by bit, I just gained confidence, and that stuttering and stammering thing just went away, just vanished altogether. And because of that CA Toastmasters Club, I was able to gain so much confidence that I had participated in NFL. I remember in 2019, and I had given the speech in front of almost 300 or 400 people without stammering and without stuttering. And since that, I had been stuttering a little bit sometimes, but not that it will just help me back or make me feel my life bad. So I'm thankful to CA Toastmasters Club, especially Toastmaster, that really helped me in gaining this confidence in myself. Thank you so much for hearing me.
All right, excellent speech. So I would request everybody to please give him a standing applause, because this is a tradition at Karachi Toastmasters that whoever gives. The reason is that coming and facing the audience is not an easy thing. The man is always at the wall when he's actually facing the audience, or the person is facing the audience. So hats off to the courage. All right, so the next speaker is TM Alvin Faraz. Presentation Mastery Level 3, Persuasive Speaking. His topic is We Shall Overcome.
Yes.
And all right, so the evaluator of TM Alvin Faraz is TM Majid Akhtar. So I hope he's around. So his time duration for speech is 5 to 7 minutes. So please put your hands together for TM Alvin Faraz.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me once again, just before we start? All right. Okay. So when I was a child, I had two qualities. I was always at a place where I was not supposed to be, and that hurt me a lot of times. And when I got hurt, I used to complain a lot. I used to cry a lot about that. So to deal with that, to build my self-efficacy, my nano, my grandmother, came into the picture as the superhero she was, and she started mentoring me. And how she did that, she would tell me stories. She would read me the word of God, and she would always tell me stories. And one specific story that I remember was the tale of Job. And most of you would not, if not familiar with that, let me just give you a brief rundown of the story. Job was the only pious and righteous man after the death of Jacob and Joseph. And he had everything. He had wealth, he had health, he had all the prosperity in the world. And more important than that, he had God on his side. God was always happy. His family was happy. But there was this one entity, there was this one individual that was never happy with him. And that was the Satan himself. And he would always think, well, Job is always happy. He is so good because God has blessed him with so many things. And once he takes them away, Job will complain and he will curse God like the normal people do. And that's what he said. That's what he said to God. And God wanted to make sure that this doesn't happen. So they put up a tale. And throughout the end of the story, Job lost his health, he lost his wealth, he even lost his family. His body turned into he had to face the severe disease of leper. But still, at the end of everything, at the end of every single loss, he would say one single thing: God take it and God take it away. Lord give it and Lord take it away. And when my Nano told me this story, I would always look at her and I would ask, really, Nano, do such people really exist in the real world? And she smiled. She would always smile and she would say, yes, Alvin, one day you will come across someone who is someone like that. As the life moved on, I met many people in my academic journey, in my professional life. And let me share one example with you. I met Ahmad in my CA journey, and he was a very nice fellow. He was quite interesting. But once he failed a couple of losses, he flunked in a couple of papers. He was very quick to complain and ask God, why? God, why with me? Why only me? Why did you do that with me? And after that, he was very quick to leave the CA journey. Life moved on. I stepped into the professional world and I met Ahmad. I met Talal once again here. He was someone who was fighting and struggling very hard for a promotion. And when he missed it, he was so devastated. Before the promotion, he even booked his dream car. He wanted to step up in life. He was so sure that he's getting this promotion, that he made the payment, he made the down payment, and he was ready to move on. But when this promotion got away from him, he was totally devastated and destroyed. He took a deep blow to his head, to his heart as well. Again, he started complaining. They were both very religious, very sentimental, very emotional people, but they started complaining that, why, God, why would you do something like that to me? I pray to you all the time. I have total faith in you. Can we wait for the azan? Like, there is a prayer call in the background.
All right. All right.
Can you hear it?
Yes.
Let's wait for it then.
Okay.
Just do let me know whenever I'm allowed to restart.
You can start.
Yeah.
Please go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. So as the life moved on, I met another fellow. His name was Junaid, and this one was facing the most terrible loss. He was facing a broken heart. He had fallen in love with this girl and he had invested his time, he had invested everything into this relationship. But the girl, at the right amount of time, when they were planning to get married, she got married with someone else. So they were all facing tough situations. They lost a lot of big things, and they were, facing this tough situation in life, and they started complaining the minute they had lost everything. That's what they thought. And that only confirmed my theory, that only confirmed my faith, and that proved my grandmother, my Nano's story a little wrong, that such people do not really exist. Whenever we mere mortals face any kind of small incident, we start complaining, but hey, it was all about to change. A couple of months back, I got a chance to visit a place called Mubarak Rind village. It is a small village near Tharparkar, and it is one of those areas which was severely affected by the recent floods in Pakistan. I was with Engro Corporation together with Tharkol Foundation. We contacted the district management there, the district government there, and with the help of the deputy commissioner, we got to that place. We had some things like water coolers and emergency searchlights, some tents, and we wanted to distribute that. And when we got there, my God, as far as I could see, I could only see water. There were some people who were living in a makeshift home. It was not even a tent. It was just a piece of sheets. It's just a piece of clothing that they were using as a shelter. They had nothing to protect them from the scorching heat in the day, and they had nothing to protect themselves from the night. Their children were bare naked, and they had nothing to save themselves from the snakes, from the stray dogs, from the scorpions, and they were fighting the hunger as well. And to my surprise came a very weak and fragile old man. He came to me. They had nothing to eat, believe me. They came to me, held my hand, gave me a cup of tea, and took the entire team to a place where they were having their food. And I thought, they have nothing, they have lost everything, their property is gone, their home is gone, their shelter is gone, and they're still willing to share whatever they have, whatever little they have, they're willing to share. I was not crying, but my eyes started leaking somehow. And in the back of my head, I could hear one voice. It was my grandmother, and she was saying, "See, Alvin, such people really do exist, who have nothing and will still share, will not complain to God, will still smile." Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Now, as you almost made us cry. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, so now there is a background music. Boom, boom, because a titan is coming, a heavyweight is coming. So whenever there's a big wrestler, there's a big boxer about to enter the ring, there is an strange intimidation in the environment. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for DTM Tala bin Hamid. He will be speaking from Innovative Planning, L4. All right, managing a project. His topic of speech is live wire, and the evaluator is TM Rabia Zishan.
Just let me confirm with her. Toastmaster Rabia is.
So may I please request TM Rabia to confirm?
I think there's a slight change of plans actually. Apologies for that. I think we need to shift a little bit.
All right.
Yeah, because Rabia is,
Okay,
it'll
no
take
worries,
some
no
time.
worries.
So if Toastmaster Lydia is online and available to speak, her evaluator is already online. Can you both confirm? Lydia is ever ready.
Team Lydia Norman.
Both are ever ready. All right. So yeah, you can introduce this one then.
All right.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a little shift in the sequence. This is what we learn in Toastmasters. Situation handling. So we had the situation, and as the topic is emotional intelligence. So by being emotionally intelligent, we are now going to be announcing TM Lydia Norman, effective coaching, level 3, connect with your audience. Neurodiversity, creating productive workplaces for all employees. The evaluator of her speech is going to be TM Rusa Kaval, and time is 5 to 7 minutes. Please put your hands together for TM Lydia Norman.
Imagine a majestic eagle circling in the skies above when she spots her target, a tasty fish swimming in the waters below. She swoops down and grabs the fish out of the water. And just when she's about to soar back up into the air, she's restrained. Goggles on her eagle eyes, flippers on her sharp talons, and an air pack strapped to her back. She's forced down into the murky waters below with the catfish, the bottom dwellers. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, I am that eagle. And this describes my experience in the workplace as a person with a cognitive disability. I was diagnosed with a cognitive disability when my children in the year 2000 were all diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The psychiatrist said to me, "Miss Norman, your children all have ADHD, and so do you. But you got A's and B's in school, so it didn't affect you. You're just fine." Great, I said. Then I don't need to pursue an official diagnosis. Well, other than mastering my accounting job so quickly that I got bored and kind of moved on after 6 months to a year, I really didn't have any issues. That is, until 15 years after that visit to the psychiatrist. In the role that I was in, I was expected to function in a way that came unnatural to me. I was expected to be submerged in the details when I was really more of a big picture person who would go down into the details when necessary. Because I was expected to function in a way that was unnatural for me, it caused me such anxiety. How I coped with that anxiety, like most high-functioning individuals, I self-medicated. My drug of choice? Caffeine. So what my managers and my coworkers did not realize is that when I said, "I'm going to Starbucks to get a coffee," it was really code for, "You guys are getting on my nerves. I can't cope. I need something to deal." I went to my manager when the coffee stopped being effective and tried to get help. I went to HR. "Please, I have ADHD. I need help." Their answer, "Well, ask your manager for less work." I went to my husband. I called my husband to complain. Nothing worked. I found myself out in the parking lot one day. Suicide hotline. Please help me. I need help. I eventually did go back to HR with some papers to say, look, these are accommodations that would help me be successful on the job. What I was told, we are not going to provide you any accommodations until you get something from a doctor. And instead of helping me, they put me on a performance improvement plan, which threw me into a tailspin. I had a nervous breakdown. I took 8 weeks off the job. And during that time, I did actually go to the doctor and get a diagnosis and get accommodations. And when I returned back to work, HR mocked them. I wish I could go home when my boss annoyed me, the HR director said. I realized that things were just pretty hopeless when my manager came to me and said, you need to find a job in 6 weeks and we'll pay you. And I said, okay, well, why don't you just pay me for the 6 weeks and let's just end this? Which they did, probably because they saw that I had filed a grievance. But I tried for over 1 year to get another accounting job. I felt like a failure. I couldn't even look at an accounting ad without tears streaming down my face. And so then I decided I am going to go back to school. I'm going to get my MBA and I'm going to create programs that help organizations learn how to support their employees with cognitive disabilities. That was the best decision that I ever made for my self-efficacy, because not only did it give me an actual diagnosis of mild neurocognitive disorders, it also put me into contact with other people like myself who have autism. I was self-diagnosed, but finally, everything made sense. Professor Tony Atwood in Queensland, Australia, said that people with autism do not suffer from the autism. They suffer from the bullying and the teasing that result from people's attitudes and ignorance. Now is the time for eagles to have their goggles removed, their flippers removed, and backpacks removed so that they can soar back into the air. Not just me, but everyone. Will you join me on my quest to make workplaces better for everyone? Back to you, Toastmaster.
Excellent, amazing speech. So with this, now we will be shifting to the next speaker, and the next speaker is going to be coming in the sequence, or
no, I.
All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we are calling DTM Talha bin Hamid. Innovative planning, level 4, managing a project. His speech title is Live Wire. His evaluator is TM Rabia Zishan, and the speech duration is 8 to 10 minutes. Please put your hands together for DTM Talha bin Hamid.
So actually, this project had 2 components. The first speech was 2 to 3 minutes, and the second was 7 to 10 minutes. The first speech was designed to introduce the project, and the second one was actually designed to be delivered after the project has been completed. So I'm combining the two in the interest of time. So yeah, time is ready. What does that remind you of? Son? Yes, it's a vehicle that's stuck in the mud. Its engine is functioning perfect. The wheels are spinning, and yet it is not moving an inch. This is what I felt at one of my jobs as head of internal audit, where we had the team, we had the authority, we had the manuals, we had the working papers, and yet in 4 months, not a single audit observation was created. And everybody was happy about it. The audit committee couldn't be happier because they had nothing to review. They could just come and gossip around and review the accounts and put a stamp on everything and leave. Similarly, the management couldn't be happier either, because what management would not love the idea of internal audit not raising a single observation throughout the year. But why was that? Since I told you that we had the team, we had the manuals, everything was top-notch. The answer is 2 words: government audit. Most of our time was spent tackling government auditors. And for organizations that are partially or fully government owned, government audit is exceptionally important. It has a strategic importance, it has a controls importance, and it has political importance as well. The organization was in superposition financial. It was making record profits, and it was enjoying good business even while during COVID times. But at the same time, the government auditors' reports were getting thicker and thicker and thicker, because government auditors are not interested in advising you for improvement. They are just interested in making reports and creating baseless observations. And then they don't listen, no matter how long your replies are, how logical they are. They will not listen. Surprisingly and shockingly, the people who listen are sitting in the National Assembly. Members of the Public Accounts Committee are surprisingly lucid and educated, and they always listen to the organization and they remove the observations that don't make sense. Sadly, they don't remove the people who create those observations. But one should be happy with what they get. I had to fix the situation because I didn't want the audit committee or the management to turn around after 1 year and tell me, what have you done during the year? Because if I had brandished the thick files of government audit observation replies, they would easily say, what did you do in that? Because these replies have been drafted by the management. You guys just compiled. And if you want to hire people who can file very well, we don't need to pay you this much. But more importantly, even if that was unlikely to happen, I was not satisfied. Day in, day out, I used to come and go without having delivered a single improvement to the system, and started to grate on me. And I said to myself, what are we doing here? Why do we have this department? The government audit thing can be handled by a group of 3 people who don't have to be qualified. And therefore, I came up with an idea. In fact, it was a unique idea which I had developed during my consultancy days and implemented on a lot of clients. It was called live audit. Not pre-audit, not post-audit, but live audit. And what did live audit do? It acted like a live wire to a jammed car. If the car is not starting, what do? You jack it. You touch live wires to its electronic system and it jerks into life. And that's exactly what happened. When I presented the idea to the management, the executive directors jerked into life. They said, what? What are you talking about? Don't we have our day jobs? Will we spend entire days answering your audit queries? I told them, well, I know pretty well what do you do all day. So please don't try to argue with me. And secondly, you're doing the same thing with government auditors. You don't object to that. You reply promptly and you prepare detailed replies. You spend a lot of time on those replies. Why not do it for us? Why not do it for something that will create an actual improvement? The idea was that we would wait for a month to end and then take a sample of the transactions done during that month. And then after that, we would perform our audit procedures, verifications, control checks, what have you, all our audit steps. And then we would create observations out of those and have them resolved. And that way, what would happen is that everyone in the management would know that no matter what we are signing off, it will be subject to an audit. And not government audit, but internal audit. And that internal audit will not happen after years. It will happen very next month. And that way, we will achieve our prime objective. And that was improvement to the system and delivering tangible results. I proposed this idea to the chairman. He loved it. Then I went to the board audit committee. They also loved it. And then I presented it to my team. And they absolutely hated it. Predictably. Because imagine, all day you are doing the work of a messenger. You're taking replies from one side, you're printing it out on papers, you're creating endless green notes for people to sign, and then you're dispatching them. What could be more comfortable? Suddenly they were asked to start doing what they were hired to do. This would not result in additional work for them. This would result in the most horrible of things, work. And that is why they rejected it. They started whining, saying, sir, we are engaged all day in this government audit thing. And the rest of the day is victim to special assignments given by the chairman. Where do we find the time? And I told them, you have 8 hours in a day. And let me tell you one thing. If I started to audit that how much time government audit takes, trust me, you don't want to go there. So yes, you can easily spare 2 to 3 hours every day for this particular task. And I am not asking you to do in even a minute of overtime. Still, you will achieve this. Why? Because for the first 10 days, we will select the sample of transaction, and the sample will be according to our capacity. The second 10 days will be spent in auditing them, and the third 10 days will be spent in drafting the report and getting the replies and developing recommendations and action plans. What could be simpler? We will be reporting to the management on a monthly basis. We will have something to show to the audit committee. And we will see rapid progress in terms of plugging our control gaps. And then I told them that, you know what? I don't care what happens to me. And yes, I demonstrated it by leaving the organization exactly 1 month after that. But you guys will be here. And you don't want anyone asking you that despite working 8 hours a day or 10 hours a day, you have accomplished nothing. This is what you need to accomplish. And they slowly but surely realized that this was the way to go. My entire audit team was formed, and we drafted the working papers, the checklists, the SOPs. And the first such exercise was rolled out in November 2022 with great results. What was the result? live wire jerking awake the management. There were 8 or 10 observations. Difference was there were observations. And that is how, ladies and gentlemen, this project was implemented with great success. Over to you, Toastmaster.
All right, excellent speech. I was almost there in the scene because this is exactly what happens in the organizations. So I'm also kind of dealing with the similar departments. So I exactly can understand the pain DTM Dala Ahmed was facing through at that time. So next speaker is going to be TM Sarfraz Nazir. Presentation mastery, level 5, prepare to speak professionally. His topic is there is always room for improvement. The evaluator is going to be TM Kareem Meghani.
Actually, about that, he's stuck in office. So actually, I will be well.
All right, so there is going to be a little change.
A little change.
A little change. So the evaluator is going to be DTM Dala bin Hamid, and the time duration is 18 to 22 minutes. So please put your hands together for DTM Sarfraz Nazir.
Sunday, January 1st at midnight, millions around the world welcomed 2023 by popping a bottle of champagne or by lighting up the sky with their fireworks. What did I do to welcome 2023? At midnight, I clicked on a link that took me to the Karachi Toastmasters Club's International Speech Contest. The contest started on time, about 45 minutes late. Some of you might have missed the contest. So I thought, I'll take a few minutes and tell you what you missed. I liked 3 things about the contest. It had 12 speakers. I also loved some of the dialogue. No, not the dialogue in the speeches, but the dialogues that I heard from some of the attendees who were online, and every now and then when they talk to someone in their house, they turn on the mic so we could all hear what they're talking about. How can the contest be improved? Make sure that my friend, Toastmaster Rabia, is not an area director or division director so that she can compete. For a moment, I forgot that she is an area director, and I was expecting her to be competing. I was looking forward to a speech from her on a subject other than the Citizen Foundation. I have read some of the comments from the judges. These are the posts that DTM Talha posted. I agree with some of the comments. For example, monotone. What is monotone? If I were giving a speech and I said, I met a beautiful girl, she was very pretty, I fell in love with her, I told her I love you, and she told me, I love you too. Then we got married and lived happily ever after. Well, are you going to say, hey, that's a great speech, I enjoyed it? Or will you say, hey, your speech put me to sleep? So to avoid monotone, there has to be vocal variety, voice inflection. We love speeches that have stories. During the contest, I heard several good stories. And before I tell you some of the stories that I heard, let me tell you that there are 3 elements that a speaker pays attention to when they're preparing their speech. The topic. What should I talk about? Oh, we have heard talk about a subject that's universal. One topic that I liked during this contest was the identity of a woman. In our society, we label the female as a daughter, sister, wife, mother, but we never pay attention to her own individuality, her own individual identity. There was another topic, saving money costs. But then also there were some controversial subject, a subject that invokes negative feelings or negative thoughts in an audience's mind should have been avoided. Now, in one speech, the speaker was reading a newspaper. And I guess he went on to say that his father was calling him and he never heard. I think it would have been better if the speaker had not used the newspaper, instead had plugs in his ears. And he could have said, Imran, my father called me, but I did not hear him because I was busy enjoying Britney Spears' Hit Me One More Time, Baby. A few minutes later, Imran, again, I didn't hear him. I was listening to Taylor Swift's new Midnights. A few minutes later, my father walks in. Imran, get those darn things out of your ears. That's how you tell a story, so that you don't put the audience to sleep. In one speech, the speaker had several numbers, but I could not tell. Is the speaker talking about rupees, euros, or dollars? Like 12,500, 36,000. I think the speaker meant 12,500 rupees or 36,000 rupees. And some of the other things that I noticed. Props. One speaker opened his speech with a jar, and then he dropped coins in it. The purpose was to tell us that we drop money into the toilet. Now, I have never seen a toilet that looks like a jar. I was wondering when he was speaking, what if, just what if, he had actually brought a toilet and had it covered. And at the right moment, he uncovered the toilet and then dropped a big chunk of chain. I think the entire room would have been bursting with laughter, especially DTM Talha. Pero Toastmasters, what I'm trying to say is there are minor things that a speaker can do that changes the outcome of the speech. Now, message, the theme is important. In some cases, the theme was obvious. For example, the identity of a female. Hey, accept me as I am. Another speech, who are you? Talking about someone not accepting the person as they are and asking them, hey, who are you? Hey. Now, storytelling can be, where I just simply say, hey, the boys asked me, who are you? I said, I'm a girl. They said, oh, we know you are a girl, but who are you? The same story can be twisted a little bit. The boys said, hey, who are you? I am a girl. Oh, girl, tell us, who are you? I am a Pakistani. Then the story goes on from the boys to the teacher and then back to the home, talking to the mother. And telling the mother, mother, who am I? What if the speaker says, I entered our house. I was crying. My mother said, sweetheart, what's wrong? Mother, the kids and even the teachers say that I don't know who I am. Minor twists that change the way you tell the story. Props are good. I didn't see a whole lot props. We have talked about humor. When one speaker was talking about the problem with the car, mechanic giving them a quotation, I heard people laughing. So humor is good. But many speakers had an opportunity to use humor, but they did not. For example, one speech ended by saying, accept me as I am. And I was thinking that in American weddings, the person who's performing the wedding asks, is there anyone here who thinks that these two should not get married? Speak now or forever hold your peace. The speaker could have said, accept me as I am, or forever hold your peace. One of the comments from the judges was something about dressing. Hey, look at me. Now, I did not don this suit for my health. This is a symbol of respect for the audience. One comment from the judges was not to use words from another language. Personally, I think it may be a good suggestion, but there is no harm in using a word from another language if it fits the speech or the purpose of the speech. Now, if I mention a word and the audience does not know what it means, that's not good. But if I use the word, I have to tell the audience. And I've noticed in KTC, when we use an Urdu word, for example, in a speech, we provide a literal translation. And that's not necessary either. You can twist the translation that fits your speech. For example, in one of my speech, I said, my mother said, hi, Rabba, or hi, Rabba, Rabba. Now, if I translated it, oh, my mother said, oh, God, God, that is not going to make any sense. So I changed the translation, hi, Rabba, which obviously meant you are not going to marry someone who is not a Pakistani. It fits the purpose of the speech. And those who know what the word meant will know the reason why I changed the meaning, because the literal meaning would not have made sense in that speech. So I believe it's okay if you use the word, as long as it has a purpose and a reason for you to do that. And if you believe your audience might not know what that word means, then you must describe it. Tell us what you mean by it. There were a lot of gestures. Every now and then we hear the evaluator tell the speaker, oh, you were standing in one place, you should be moving. And I think some of our speakers took that to heart. Because during the speech, I noticed some of the word like doing this. That's not body language. That's not body movement. You should move during your speech with a purpose. Also, we've heard that when you are presenting a dialogue, two people talking to each other. One person is standing this way and presents a dialogue, then the other person is facing this way, responding back. I heard several dialogues like that during the speeches. But in between the dialogues, there were long pauses because the speaker would stand, say something, and then walk without saying a word, a few feet away, turn around, and respond. This is like watching a movie in slow motion. It is not necessary to keep walking back and forth to show that you are engaged in a dialogue. You can stand in one place and use your feet to pivot. Hi, son. How was your day today? Fine, father. You change positions without walking back and forth. That helps. It cuts down the time that you are engaged in long pauses. Now, you may have seen some of the scenes in American movies about a courtroom drama where the witness, before they take the witness stand, they raise their hand. You're about to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Now, let me warn you, I'm not going to tell you the whole truth because I'm afraid if I do, some of you, some of the speakers will hate me. Oh, I know I'm sensitive too. So I'm trying to generalize what I saw, how I felt, like the message or the theme. In some cases, the theme was clear. In some cases, I couldn't tell what is the purpose of the speech. For example, I heard a speech in which the speaker tells about giving money. Someone asked, hey, in the name of God, give me something. So I thought the purpose of speech is, hey, we should help the needy. But then towards the end of the speech, the speaker says, oh, you don't know what they're going to do with the money, so you have to be careful who you give the money to. Now, that confused me. Is the speaker trying to tell me I should give money? Or telling me that I shouldn't be careful and not give to anyone who asks for it? The message should be clear. And in some cases, the title gave away the message or the ending. When you are watching a murder mystery, until the end of the book or the end of the movie, you don't know what happened. Who killed the hero? But when you say release from the cage, I already know that the speech is going to be getting released from whatever cage you were in. Why not the cage? Now wondering, hey, what happened inside that cage? So titles are important. The theme, what you're going to talk about, but the theme should be singular, meaning one message so that the audience is not confused. I also saw something that reminded me of my own experience. When I was a student in the first year pre-engineering, or also known as first year intermediate science, I participated in the All Karachi College Urdu debate. It was not a debate because we were not debating each other. It was more like a speech contest. There were two speakers from each college. One spoke in favor of the topic and one spoke against. When I was preparing for that contest, I did research and I found a very sophisticated sentence in a book, and I liked it. And I thought if I use that sentence in my speech, the audience will think that, hey, I'm well educated. I'm a sophisticated person. So I memorized that sentence. Mistake number one. The contest was held at Adamji's Science College. I was on the stage. In Karachi, we were not allowed to move around on the stage. There were two lecterns, one on each side, one for the topic and one against the topic. So I was standing behind the lectern. The lectern was high. All the audience could see was my head and just the top part of my body. When I was delivering my speech and I came to that sentence, my mind went blank. For a moment, I could not remember. So I put my head down, trying to recall that sentence. It only took a few seconds, but I was able to recall it. And I said that sentence and went on. Now, the audience could not see what I was doing. All they saw was my head was down. They thought I was taking a piece of paper out of my pocket and reading it. My mistake was, number one, memorizing something that was not mine. I should have paraphrased it, or I should have not used it. Mistake number two was, at that moment during my speech when I could not remember, I shouldn't have stopped, paused, even though it was just a few seconds, trying to remember what that sentence. I could have just forgotten that and go on to the rest of the speech, because the audience did not know what I was going to say at that moment. So the message is, make an outline and prepare your speech using that outline. So this way, we don't memorize, and it makes it easier for us to tell. The other technique is use personal stories, not facts and figures. A few facts and figures are fine, but the entire story should not be based on fiction or what happened. Creating generic message. If when you're telling a story, it's your story. It happened to you. You experienced it. You know what it is. So you don't have to worry about memorizing. You can simply tell it like it happened. And during your speech, if for a moment you can't remember what it is, don't pause to think, or don't go back and repeat the previous sentence, hoping that it will jog your memory and you can tell the next sentence. Just forget that sentence and go on to the next, because we don't know what you are planning on telling us. There were good lessons in this contest. One was, why were members of the audience online every now and then interfering? The Zoom master has the power to mute everyone so that no one is speaking when the speaker is talking. But also, there were great speeches. And I've heard some of the speakers before, and I could tell that they have improved. Speaking in a contest takes courage, but that's the best way to improve. If I give a speech at my club, at ATC, week after week, after a while, I get very comfortable. The evaluators are going to say, oh, Sarfraz, oh, you always give great speeches. So I'm not going to improve. But when you compete in a speech contest, like the international speech contest, that forces you to improve, to shine, to bring out your best. I enjoyed this contest, and I look forward to the next contest. The time to prepare for the next contest is now. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, superb speech from the superb DTM. So now there is an opportunity. There is an opportunity to become grammarian, because the grammarian we had earlier has not signed in due to certain reasons. So who would like to volunteer to become a grammarian for today's?
I think Toastmaster Mariam, if you could. Is it possible?
I'm not sure if I'll be able to attend the whole meeting. That's the issue.
All right. Perhaps we can ask Toastmaster Hiba if that's possible for her.
So she's actually using a DTM?
No,
Deanna?
No, yeah.
All right, TM Deanna, she is willing to become the
No,
grammarian.
wait. Toastmaster Hiba, are you willing to become the grammarian?
Didn't I have the role of the table topic evaluator?
Yes, you do have that as well. Don't worry. Actually,
Okay.
our grammarian could not join today. He is stuck in office. I waited a while, hoping that he could be released, but now it's clear that he cannot. So that's why.
Okay, I'll try to juggle the roles.
All right. Great. Thank you so much, Madam President.
All right. So with this, we have this new grammarian with us. And now with this, we have reached to the final speaker of the day, TM Misty Postman. Presentation Mastery Level 2, Understanding Your Communication Style. The topic of the speech is hijacked. The speech evaluator is TM Umair Ahmed.
Yeah.
The time duration is 5 to 7 minutes. Please put your hands together for TM Misty Postman.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. Imagine you're in a car, you're driving, you're on your way to a meeting. There's plenty of traffic on the road. There's cars to the left, there's cars to the right, and you're all moving rather quickly. Not a lot of space between the cars. And suddenly you catch some movement out of the corner of your eye. And here comes a car trying to squeeze into this tiny space between you and the car in front of you. You slam on the brakes. The car fits in. You would like to smash him to pieces, except it would ruin your car. So you don't. But you're livid. What an idiot. That is an amygdala hijack. That is an amygdala hijack of fight. Let's suppose the car fits in and you think, ooh, this guy is dangerous. And you fall back and you move to another lane and another lane. You don't want to be anywhere near this kind of a jerk of a driver. Flight. Item 2. The car cuts in, you slam your brakes, you move back, you let a lot of space become between you and that car. Other cars fill in. You would like to become invisible. Freeze. Number 3. Fight, flight, freeze. These are the functions of the amygdala. The amygdala is part of your brain way down at the back, close to your spine. Now, I'm not doing diagrams because I want you to focus on function, not form. The purpose of the amygdala is to keep you alive, to help you survive. The word amygdala means almond in Greek, or sometimes it's translated as tonsil. 2 little organs, shaped pretty much like an almond. Their concern is your safety. Safety at your core. And what happens during an amygdala hijack? Your system changes its function. Digestion stops. All the different body functions stop. Most importantly, your immune system shuts down Because if you're facing the danger of a car, or if in our hunter-gatherer days, it would be more like a saber-toothed tiger or a lion or some animal that's looking to have you for lunch, you don't need your immune system functioning at that point. You need to either fight, flight, or freeze. Now you're stuck in today's world. You're sitting in a car. The previous speaker talked about going blank while you're speaking. That's an amygdala hijack. You walk into a room full of people, you don't recognize anybody, there's just a mass of people, you freeze at the entrance, amygdala hijack. Your boss says, I need to talk to you. Oh, that sounds ominous, amygdala hijack. You pick up the mail, you open the mail, there's this unexpected bill from your insurance company, amygdala hijack. So in today's world, there's many forms of it. And while we don't have four-legged lions and tigers, we have all kinds of other opportunities. What to do? 3 things to do. Number 1, if you're in the car, look at something that you can see within your view, like the mirror or the top of the steering wheel or your hand or anything. Look at something. Number 2, touch something. Touch your own hand, touch the steering wheel, touch your shoulder, touch another part of the car, touch the seat next to you. Number 3, say something. Oh my goodness. We got through that one. Smile. That will move you out of an amygdala hijack. You want your body functioning. You do not want to be in an amygdala hijack, but it is part of everyday life. There's one other function of the amygdala. When you've got past it, the next thing it does is look for connection. So move through it and move into its second part of its functioning, which is making connections. Mr. Toastmaster.
Well, thank you so much for the wonderful speech. So with this, we have reached to the end of our first segment, which is of prepared speeches. Now, please vote for the best speakers.
Ask the timer if everyone is.
So timer, may we have something from you if there is any disqualification?
Just say it out loud. Don't be scared.
DM Rabia.
Yeah.
7 minutes, 41 seconds.
All right. So
Like
unfortunately,
11 seconds ahead of the time.
All right. So since DTM Sarfraz just mentioned that she's a contest winning speaker and now an area director, I'm sorry, Toastmasters. All right. So what we'll be doing is that I'll be floating the poll online, the Google poll in the Zoom box. Please vote here. And for those who are physically present here, since most of you are not online as part of the group, what I did was that I wrote the names of all the speakers by cutting the name of the disqualifier. You just place the tick against who you think was the best. Don't write your name against it, so it will remain anonymous and pass on to the next person. Just complete this around the tick.
Battle strategy. Very nice. Because when we are new, we do not know who that person is being represented through that name. That sheet is actually reaching to you. You can mark whoever you think was the better speaker. And we're not taking more than 1 minute. be a little quick.
You can continue in the meanwhile.
Okay, so now we can jump on to the next segment. The next segment of today is very important because once we are at Toastmasters, we learn. One of the way we actually learn is to prepare the speeches. Second way is we learn to extempore talk, extempore speech. Certainly we are given topics to talk on, and we there and then have to decide that what exactly can be the right talk to give on the given topic. So the table topic session is going to be taken care by none other than TM Hina Ali. So may I please request TM Hina Ali to take charge and start your job as table topic master. Put your hands together, please.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Majid Akhtar. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests and all of our audience from across the globe, from the USA. Welcome to our meeting. Today, I'm your Table Topics Master, and as you all would know, Table Topics is one of the best parts of being in Toastmasters, where we learn to think on our feet if we're suddenly put in a situation where a question is posed to us or something is spoken about and someone asks you to comment. But we learn by doing, by practicing, and we practice through this session. Our theme today is emotional intelligence. Just very quickly, for the benefit of our guests in the audience, we give a topic which is unseen and request whoever comes up courageously to speak on that, to speak between 1 to 2 minutes. So at 1 minute, you would see the timer show you the green card or light. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, you'll see the yellow, and at 2 minutes, you will see the red, which is an indication that you need to wrap up your speech or your talk before it's 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So if you speak less than 1 minute or beyond 2 minutes and 30 seconds, you're disqualified as a speaker. Right. Our very interesting theme today is staying emotionally intelligent. So I would like to invite Toastmaster Deanna. I have your comments and I will share them shortly. So let me do that as the last. Let's save the best for last. Okay. In the meantime, may I please invite Toastmaster Cynthia Scott, if you're here in our Zoom audience.
Cynthia, wait.
Here? I think not.
Let me check with her. I think she just logged off. Let me just check with her if she can rejoin.
Sure.
Yeah, just a few seconds. Oh, she can't actually. So you can call.
All right. Okay. Toastmaster Mariam Aftab. May I call Toastmaster Mariam Aftab? Are you there, Mariam?
Yes.
Hi, Assalamu alaikum, Mariam. So I have a statement that I'm going to share with you, and it goes to thinking about emotional intelligence. And I'd like to know what your thoughts are on it. No matter how much you visit the past, there is nothing new to see. No matter how much you visit the past, there is nothing new to see. Your thoughts, Toastmaster Mariam.
One thing we all have in common is throughout our life, or maybe at some point in our life, we have emotionally destroyed, maybe build up, maybe out of that we have find ourselves, or maybe a new personality within. We all have our own perspectives to see how the emotion took us from where to where. with this point, I would just like to tell everyone one thing, which my father taught me in a very strong message. At night, in the dark, when you see a small problem even that looks big and impossible to solve, and when you wake up next morning, it's nothing. It's gone by the wind. And you find yourself in the midst of nothing. The same is with those things that we have done in our past. You cannot change them. You cannot go back into that time and fix those things. Rather, you'll be confusing yourself, going back, thinking of those things, getting yourself back into that position of not doing anything, and keeping yourself out of that frame of mind where you can think positive and move forward. Well, yes. Do remember what has been done in past, but do not let that take you back with that. Don't forgive, but try to forget where you have been emotionally damaged. Take that as a lesson, learn from that, and keep that in mind so that your future will be fine. And in the future, you will not be thinking that what I have done wrong or what I should have been doing. With that note, always remember, you have the authority. You are in whole with your emotions. You have all that power to move forward, to look at yourself, your personality, to build that too. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mariam. So may I now invite one of our guests, DTM Talha, possibly if you could suggest one of the guests.
We have a Toastmaster here. You sir, have been a Toastmaster? No. Who did we have who has been a Toastmaster before? All right. So, sir, then you can come.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Nisar Asadi.
Sorry?
Nisar Asadi.
Nisar Asadi.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Please come on the stage, sir.
What's my topic?
Yeah. You'll just learn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Studio, everyone.
Good evening, guest Nisar Asadi.
Yeah.
I will share a statement with you, and I'd like for you to share your thoughts on it. The strongest people are not always the ones who win, but the ones who don't give up when they lose. The strongest people are not always the ones who win, but the ones who give up when they lose. Your thoughts, guest, Mr. Asadi.
Thank you very much.
1 to 2 minutes, right?
Thank you very much. Thank you. Looks a strong topic to have a strong nerves to speak on it, but let me try. Well, thank you much. I do remember when we used to go to the films in early childhood, and there was a very famous story about Robert, the King of Scotland, who faced many defeats, and he was hiding himself in a cave, and he watched a small spider who was climbing on his web. He fell down, and he was quite keen to watch the behavior of the spider. And luckily or coincidentally, the spider fell 9 or 11 times, if not remember exactly. The spider fell 9 times, and the particular king had faced the 9 defeats. He got the lesson from there that even you are falling 9 times, you are not supposed to give up. That's all your strong nerves you hold. In my personal opinion, it's not about winning or losing. Sometimes losing in life is just as important as knowing how to win. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter you win or lose, but the message or the lesson you learned is more impactful. So my understanding, never give up, never give up, and never give up. Thank you very much. Keep on trying, keep on trying. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, guest Mr. Asadi. I'd like to remind everybody that the word of the day is self-efficacy. May we have another guest from among our audience?
Who would like to come? You at the end, please. Your name is Mohammed Ali, right? Ali Imran. Ali Imran. Close enough. Come on the stage. Come on the stage. Apologies, I'm bad with names.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Ali Imran Malik.
Yeah.
Sorry, could you repeat your name again, please?
Ali Imran Malik.
Ali Imran Malik. Welcome, guest Ali Imran. And your topic is, at some point in time, you just have to let go of what you thought should happen, and live in what is happening. At some point in time, you have to just let go of what you thought should happen and live in what is happening.
Okay.
Do you agree or disagree, and why?
Okay, I agree with this statement, and I agree with it because God has made a plan for us, and you don't know how that plan, what that plan is. So you are working, you have your own ambitions and your own goals and targets, but at certain times, those targets are not achieved by you. But if you keep believing in Allah and God, and you believe in predestination, then a lot of times it shows up in better ways. So if you have thought of some goal, you have some goal, and you can't achieve it, but if you take a step back and you see that if your goal is not being achieved, that doesn't matter. So there's a bigger plan from God that you don't know of, and so you should stand back and watch and give time to your life and to the situations that are taking place in your life, and so you should not worry about the future, because the future is in Allah's hands. And there are a lot of verses from the Quran as well. I would quote one verse, which is that nothing will happen to me except what Allah has ordained for me. So yes, I agree with this statement that was given to me.
Thank you very much, guest Ali Malik. And finally, one more before I move on to reading Toastmaster Diane's response.
Who would like to come next? All right. What's your name?
Mohammed Taha.
Mohammed Taha. Mohammed Taha. Engineer? Mohammed Taha?
That's fine. You can just call Mohammed.
No, I was just confirming that you were the one who was right.
Yeah, I'm an engineer.
Finally got you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on stage, Mohammed Taha. Mohammed Taha, your topic is, and since you're an engineer, efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. Your thoughts, Mohammed Taha?
Yeah. Thank you. Interesting topic. Since I belong to engineering industry, and a lot of you are from job markets and all is that we always focus on increasing the efficiency. Like efficiency is the first priority. Even in our industry we have KPIs, so we have to just meet the KPIs regardless of the results you are producing. You just have to have the right numbers on the sheets. What I believe, regardless from what profession do I have, effectiveness is something that actually encourages your work. Like I know I do not have, I'm not going to talk a lot about the technicalities into that, but what I believe is it's always the quality rather than the quantity, right? So maybe you are getting a lot work done, your teams are getting a lot work done, but as long as you do not meet the quality, you do not have the the right quality in that. I as an engineer, I can also tell you that's not going to worth it. So I think that's it. I totally agree. I preach that effectiveness should be there rather than just efficiency and everything. And the Japanese concept, the Kaizen, the Agile, and all of them, they all teach us the same thing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, guest Mohammed Taha. And now I'd like to read the thoughts of Toastmaster Diane. I think they best suit a topic that I have. Don't run through life so fast that you forget not only where you've been, but also where you are going. And just one moment. Toastmaster Diane said, "Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I will be telling my story about high school long ago. Self-efficacy, I feel breaks my heart. It was broken by my ex-boyfriend from high school. He had a new girlfriend and I felt very hurt. I was so mad at this girl who took my boyfriend away. I cried in the bedroom of self-efficacy. I fell. She kissed my old boyfriend with a fall in love. And I felt the struggle of being bullied by self-efficacy. Another student was very mean to me in the wheelchair. That disability is too much in my life. Thank you, Toastmaster, Madam Toastmaster." And that was our speakers. DTM Talha, do we have time for one more or are we okay?
I think we should move on because of the time.
Right. Please, can we have the timers report?
Yeah.
All are qualified.
All right, perfect.
Great,
So,
thank
okay.
you. Please vote.
Doing the
And
same.
just very quickly, thank you, audience online and in person. Most of these comments or statements were quotations of a number of famous people. And I'm very happy to say most of you were able to speak very, very effectively on them. Thank you so much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
All right, thank you so much for the wonderful segment. Big round of applause for this. That segment which takes us out of our comfort zone is very interesting because we do not learn when we are in comfort zone. We do not grow when we are in comfort zone. So at Toastmasters, we learn in every stage. We learn when we step inside this room because we learn how to face the audience. Then the first segment teaches us how to deal with the prepared speech segment. And the second segment which we learned was this extempore speeches. Now the third segment is of evaluation. So this is the segment in which we all are going to learn exactly what were those areas where we needed improvement, because we ourselves only would think that we probably were the best. But once an evaluator comes and the evaluator tells us that these were the areas where certain improvements required, only then we get to know that where exactly are the improvements required. So with this, I would like to invite TM Alvin Faraz, who is the general evaluator for today. So please put your hands together for TM Alvin Faraz.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, for giving such an elaborated and detailed introduction. Thank you so much for the Table Topic Master for conducting such a nice table topic session. Now it is the third session of the meeting. And in this one, we would like to, we wish to learn, we wish to see what we have done. And for that, we would call upon the individual evaluators who are going to tell us what was the good thing and what was the bad thing about our speeches, not the bad things, the times or room for improvements that we can have. So let's start with the very first evaluator. And since there was a change of plan, so let me call upon stage DTM Sarfaraz, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Umair Ahmed. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, 2 to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Umair Ahmed. Thank you for the courage you displayed in giving your first speech at KTC. Your self-efficacy was on display. Let me tell you what I liked about your speech, and then I'll tell you how you can improve that speech. I liked the title of your speech. Instead of saying, "Who am I?" you said, "As I know him." And I was curious. What do you know about yourself? Of course, you have lived your life, you know who you are. A good twist on the title. I also like the fact that even though this was your first speech at KTC, you came up in front of the audience without any notes. You were not holding an 11-inch by 17-inch piece of paper. You knew your story. You knew your speech. You did not need any notes, and that's great. The third thing I liked about your speech was that you met the objectives of your speech. The purpose of your speech was to tell the audience a little bit about yourself. After listening to you, I know something about you, who you are, the issues that you had in the area of communication when you were a child. I learned today that it is difficult to say the letter Q. I also found out that you are married. Now, how can you improve your speech? You open your speech by saying, "This is my first icebreaker." From the agenda, we knew you were giving your icebreaker. So there's no need to tell us. You could simply open your speech with your story. Once upon a time, when I was a child, I realized, and then go on with your story. The second thing that I think will improve your speech is when you mention, "My wife helped me," you use the term wife in a generic manner. Give her a name because she has name. Tell us who she is. You make her part of your speech human. My wife, who is? Say a few words about who she is, what she means to you. And then you said, "She helped me." Tell us a little bit. What did she do that helped you? I loved your speech because of your title, your courage, not using any notes, fulfilling the purpose and objective of your speech. If you can open your speech immediately with your own story and give some meaning to your characters in the speech, it will be a great speech. This was your first speech, and I look forward to many more speeches from you in the future. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much for this kind evaluation, sir. Next up, I would like to call upon Toastmaster Hina Ali, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Rabia Zishan's speech. Over to you, madam.
Thank you, General Evaluator. Good evening again, fellow Toastmasters and Toastmaster Rabia in particular. Toastmaster Rabia, today you were giving us a talk to inspire your audience. And I have to say this, though you've always spoken about the Children's Foundation with passion, today I saw a renewed passion. Amazing. You were here to, and if I may have your permission to share why you did this speech. So Toastmaster Rabia has a speech to give in front of an audience of approximately 300 people in the next few days. And of course, what better place to practice and get feedback than in this most supportive and encouraging environment of Toastmasters. So to begin with, Rabia, what I loved about your speech was you started with the actual and very personal story of what brought you to TCF, to the Children's Foundation. And you got straight into it with a friend trying to convince you and, just a pushback that I'm already giving. And then how the speech of the keynote speaker at this event at the TCF headquarters impacted you. So what we heard was not just the fact that, okay, we know there's a literacy issue, but actual very, very concrete facts about how bad the situation is and how we are compared to so many countries in the world. And you talked about being in the bottom 10. So guys, to just give you a quick perspective on this, I had worked on a project with my nephew recently for a university assignment. And there are more than 195 independent countries in this world. So we are between 185 to 100. That really had a major impact on me. So incredible facts. I love that the fact that you brought those facts in and is as part of that story of what moved you. So I believe it also moved me, and I'm sure it will move the audience and the audience in general today. And then you went into, ultimately, when you got into the program and you talked about the benefits. So that was really nicely done. I think what happened and what's happening with me right now as well is we had a lot of the story and then benefit, and we suddenly needed to end, and you went slightly over time. You had a beautiful quote. I also like that although your speech was in Urdu, and generally if it's an Urdu speech, it should be completely in Urdu, but you've kept in mind your audience, which may be a mixed batch of people who come in. So you had Urdu and some English in it, and it was very real. So I really like that fact. So where I'm losing time now as well, and it doesn't matter anymore, but what I'd like for you to work on is maybe your story's great. If you could just trim it down a little bit and come sooner to the benefits that you've gained, okay? And of course, the benefits, in terms of how you explained targeting different types of people. So you could say the benefits that we get by targeting different audiences, whether it's a big organization we're going to, or a high net worth individual, or a simple salaried person who'd like to make a small, like a difference. And so if you could just sharpen that message a little bit more, and then of course finish in time. Now, I'm not sure if this might be 7 minutes, maybe you might have more time. So if you have more time, if it's more than 7 minutes, then pace yourself a little bit. Don't rush through your speech, slow it down so that your audience can absorb your message. And the other thing is, You have great hand gestures, but sometimes I think they were more to try to, I'm not sure, control nerves or something, but you have a lot of room in here to just maybe practice and build in 3 or 4 very specific actions while you're speaking, which, and again, not hurried, but slowly, that, again, impact the audience as you're speaking. Like you talk about the bottom 10, maybe, I mean, I'm not sure if it'll help if you can actually mention the fact that there are 195 countries in the world. So imagine where we are right at the bottom, something like that. Few things. Other than that, I'll maybe catch up with you offline. But I wish you all the best. This is very inspirational work that you do, and you have an amazing inspirational speech up ahead for your audience of 300. Best of luck.
Thank you so much. I hope that Toastmaster Rabia took sufficient notes out of this, and TM Hina, love the way you carry a smile while you're delivering your evaluations, and the soft tone helps a lot in getting the message across. Next up, TM Rabia is going to be on the stage to evaluate speech delivered by DTM Talha bin Hamid. Over to you, madam.
Thank you so much. Am I audible through these
Yes, you are.
headphones? Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests, and especially you, DTM Talha. Today you had 2 speeches which you combined, and the purpose was about doing a project. And what was the project? Amazing start you gave to your speech. The expressions and the sound effects you gave in the starting, that was enough to gather the attention of the entire audience. So amazing start. You took your time and details in explaining why this team or why this project was needed. You gave us the reasons behind the creation of this team that you talked about, live audit. So that was beautifully done, and that fulfilled the purpose of your first speech. So kudos for doing that in a very storytelling manner, in an engaging manner. It did not look like it was a report or something. So beautifully done. Then you went on and explained on how the team would work and how you convinced your bosses, which was very easy enough, and then your team members, and you brought in humor in your speech, which is always very good to keep the audience engaged. Apart from that, you tried to explain the audience about auditing and what this team means, because I could see Toastmaster Hina thoroughly enjoying it because she must have the same background. And I was having a little bit hard time connecting to the story because I am not of this background at all. But even then you took out the effort to explain the steps. So even as a layman, I have no audit background, I could understand, okay, so this could be done easily in a 3-10-day period time. So it was clearly, even if someone does not have that background, it was clear enough. But for those who did have a little bit background, they were thoroughly enjoying it and they could relate to it very easily. So kudos on that for trying to explain it in the easiest. I think these were the easiest terms possible to explain about your project, live wire. And you fulfilled your second speech project when you told us about the outcome of it in November 2022 and how successful it was and how manageable it was, that your team members were able to do it. So congratulations on fulfilling both the objectives of both your speeches, and maybe next time a little bit more explanation of the project itself. Not the project, the terms like auditing and few terms that you use, because I got totally lost about it. But congratulations on completing your both the projects. Back to you, Toastmaster Elton.
Thank you so much. So as far as I understand it, less technicality and more explanation. That was the word from Toastmaster Rabia. Now let me invite one of the most energetic and the most handsomest, I'm not even sure this is a word, speakers of Karachi Toastmaster. Put your hands together for the one and the only Toastmaster Majid Akhtar, who will be evaluating me. Over to you, sir.
Yeah. Anyone heard of the term Mutual Admiration Society?
So all these places will not scare you from the harsh evaluation. All right, so TM Alvin. So you must have heard that quotation, ships are safe at harbor, but that is not what ships are built for. So Alvin may be safe at Zoom, but that is not Alvin is actually made for. Alvin was supposed to be here, and Alvin, because you bring along a lot of energy whenever you are in the hall, everybody actually gets the energy which you carry along. So you have very energetic personality, you've got very energetic voice, you have storytelling ability, you have confidence, you have eloquence, you are an eloquent speaker. So today, had you been here, it would have been more fun, because whenever you are here, so you do bring a lot of artistic abilities along with your speech. We not only get to listen to your speech, but we also see a good stage performance, because the way you use the stage, the way you bring in the expressions on your face, the way you bring the voice modulation into use, the way the eye contact is done is amazing. But today, while you were on the camera, so the better way to maintain the eye contact was to look in the camera directly. So I often noted as an evaluator that the eye contact was a little rated here and there. So the speech was good. I mean, since we come to Toastmasters for learning. So apparently I got a feel as an evaluator as if there was something kept on your left-hand side and you were trying to read something from that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I may be wrong, but the impression which I was continuously getting with your with your eye contact continuously, resting on the left side, as if there is some paper down there from where you're reading. So from a speaker of your stature, we would like you to be more prepared and not making use from any of the notes. Overall, the speech was fantastic. Okay, so even if you were on the camera, so part of the evaluation when we do the evaluation is to evaluate the speaker from the perspective of stage movement. So you were delivering your talk speech while sitting, so the stage movement could not be noticed. Hand gestures, probably there were some hand gestures, but those hand gestures were also not noticeable because of the because of the distance at which you were sitting from the camera. So the hand gestures were totally not visible to me as an evaluator. Overall, I found the same energy in your voice. I found the same energetic Alvin Faraz. So the only thing which Alvin Faraz need to do is to push himself to, on every Wednesday, come to Beach Lagoon Hotel and let everybody learn from your energy, let everybody learn from the way you do your things. So congratulations on completing your project. So with this, I would like to hand over the charge back to Alvin Faraz.
Thank you so much. I will definitely keep all of that in mind and try to look into the camera for the next project. Next up, originally, this evaluation was supposed to be done by Toastmaster Kareem Meghani, but now I would like to call upon DTM Talha, who would be evaluating DTM Sarfaraz. So it's a DTM versus a DTM. Over to you, sir.
Toastmaster Alvin. Slice and dice. This is what DTM Sarfaraz did to the speeches made and the international speech contest. Well, I don't mean it as if he slaughtered the contestants, although it's clear that he did want to do the same to some of the contestants. What I mean is, I haven't ever experienced a keynote where a keynote speaker actually gives feedback on a set of speeches. Never, ever in my life. We all know that a keynote is made at a special occasion, and this is a special occasion because it is just after the international speech contest. We all know that a keynote has to have a set of linked points leading up to a conclusion. And finally, we all know that a keynote has to have a call to action. And I am frankly amazed that how all these elements were incorporated into the keynote by DTM Surfraz, employing the material that was absolutely not designed for a keynote at all. What I loved about this speech was how DTM Surfraz spotted the patterns in the speeches and spoke on them rather than on individual speakers. So that's the splice part where he picked up on common points and then he actually commented on them. What was good, what could be improved. And then the dicing part where he picked up some specific points from specific speeches and highlighted them, either as something to emulate or something to improve upon. Thirdly, and most impressively, he was able to tie the whole thing into a cohesive whole, where we, at the end of the keynote, felt that we knew a lot more about public speaking than we did at the start of the keynote. A few improvement areas, although I don't frankly believe that the conventional criteria even apply to this particular speech. But alas, that's what the evaluation sheet says. So I would just say that the speech was bookended by portions of great eloquence and energy, and in the middle sagged a little bit in terms of vocal variety and energy. So maybe DTM Surfraz could have introduced a device in the middle that could have perked up his voice and our spirits as well. Because actually this material of the speech actually dictated this pattern, that energetic start, then a steady middle, and then energetic end. But maybe something could be done to bring more energy in the middle of the speech. And secondly, what could have been done is that more emphasis could have been laid upon preparedness, although of course it was spoken in between the lines. But I believe that this point could have been highlighted more. So overall, absolutely phenomenal speech, DTM Surfraz, defying all the conventions of conventional speeches. If only a little bit more energy and vocal variety could be introduced in the middle of the speech, it would have been even more amazing. Over to you, General Velvet.
Thank you so much. Well, DTM Talha and Toastmaster Vase, you both have my respect because you have done the impossible task of evaluating the best of the best. So wonderfully done. Now, I would like to call upon the next speaker was Toastmaster Lydia Norman. And I believe Toastmaster Urusa was supposed to evaluate her according to the agenda.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So over to you, madam.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Lydia, for such an enlightening speech. A lot of us, we all know about autism, and but to understand it from a person who has been diagnosed and who is now neurodiverse, this was a totally different and new experience. And I must tell you right on, I hated that HR person as well. So what I loved about your speech, I love the structure of your speech, the way you structured the speech. It had a very wonderful, very dreamy opening. Then you added a personal story, and then you rounded up the story and closed it. So it had a very good structure. Then the next thing that I loved about your speech were the gestures. You had really wonderful facial expressions, and which kept me really hooked to the whole entire narrative. And then your hand gestures were really in sync with everything that you were saying. There was nothing that was out of the ordinary. And lastly, I like that the idea of your whole story was relatable. Although you had to introduce a new topic to the entire club, still you kept it in a way and a tone in the whole structure that everyone would have found some value to it, from it. So that was already very well put. What could have been improved? You told us how you went through a lot of struggle. Then you told us about a vision. And then I felt that that vision could have been realized. There must have been some outcome. That is where I missed, that there was something missing there, and then there was an ending. So maybe you could have added a little bit about whether that vision that you saw was realized or not. Other than that, I really loved the whole entire story, and I wish you luck for the next speech. Over to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. For the next one, we have saved the very best for the last for you. That was Toastmaster Misty Frostman. And to evaluate her speech, I would like to call upon stage Toastmaster Umair Ahmed. Over to you, sir. I can't
Toastmaster
hear you.
Imran,
Not hear
yeah,
you.
you're muted. Sorry.
Please continue.
Ms. Misty, you started your speech very beautifully when you gave a little bit understanding about things, and then you make it to Big Dilla, that you wanted to give us understanding about how it does affects you and what is the hijack that really affects your life. So you were very much eloquent in that, and your hand gestures were amazing because you were just giving every understanding that what you wanted to say. Your hands were your hand, all those things that you were using all your body to give us understanding what you wanted to say. Your vocal variety a little bit kind of straight, because I think you were trying to give us understanding about Migdala, or maybe it was like speaking about like a classroom, that you were just giving us understanding in that way. Your eye contact was great, because you were looking at the audience straight into it. Plus your comfort level was amazing, and you were very smooth and calm while delivering this speech, and while giving us an understanding of what you wanted to say to us and how you wanted to deliver things to us. I think your speech and your communication style was direct, and obviously plus you were also persuasive in giving in delivering the speech. So what I think that you must be giving the in future, I would say that you use more voice modulation in your speech, so that we can have the impact of your topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that, Toastmaster Umair. Let me quote a stanza, a rhyming couplet that I used in one of my previous speeches. We all need to earn, we all need to turn. Evaluators are people from which we must learn. So take this with a lot of importance and attention. Incorporate all of this into your next speeches, and that is the way to improvement. One more thing that I want to add here: I already knew about the fight and flight response, but thank you for adding the freeze to my information setup to my brain. So with that, I would like to go to the timer to ask a very important question. Has everyone qualified? Has every evaluator qualified?
Yes, all evaluators are qualified.
All right, thank you so much. Now I would like to go towards Madam President. She is going to
sorry for interruption. TM Hina is not qualified. She took 5 minutes 20 seconds.
All right. That doesn't matter. She was always giving good feedback. She was giving positive things that she could incorporate. She wanted to incorporate in Toastmaster Rabia. So I think we should now move to the next segment, and that is going to be the evaluation for the table topic session. And I would like to go to Madam President, who is going to evaluate the whole session. Over to you, Madam President.
Okay, everyone, in all there were 4 speakers. The first speaker was TM Mariam Aftab Kidwai. So I think she should have switched on the camera switched on the camera. So other than that, I could not, because for good evaluation, we know that every angle is important. So I could not detect anything from her side to evaluate. So I think the only thing is that she could have incorporated vocal variety in her speech. Other than that, nothing is there. I couldn't detect anything. Guest Asadi, you had good eye contact. You spoke well, positive smile and good flow of speech. Vocal variety was needed in your speech. You could have added a bit of vocal variety, and covering, you could have made your body a bit more flexible. You were standing very straight, stiff. So you could have covered the speaking area a bit more. Just Ali Imran, good hand movement, good eye contact, spoke well on the topic. Again, I think he could have incorporated vocal variety and should have covered the speaking area more. And the last, guest Taha, good hand movement, good eye contact, good flow of speech, and the same the same thing I suppose that he was lacking, like other speakers, vocal variety and covering of speaking area. That's about it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam President. Now it is a very important time because I would like to have the reports from all the facilitators, and this I would not be able to call upon the names because there were a lot of changes today. So let me call upon the grammarian first of all. Whoever the grammarian is, could you please come up and give us the report?
Yes. Okay. Since I was trying to juggle 2 roles, I only detected someone spoke you win or loss. It should have been you win or lose. Other than that, I think the grammar was all right.
About the word of the day, I noted that Toastmaster Lydia and DTM Sarfraz and Toastmaster Diana used the word of the day. In fact, Toastmaster Diana used it multiple times. And yeah, that was about the word of the day. Over to you.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we have the timer, please?
We started the meeting 20 minutes late. And we are still 20 minutes late.
Not bad.
No improvement, no progress.
No improvement.
All right. With that, the timer's report is concluded. Now, can we have the R-counters report, please?
We don't have one, neither do we have a listener. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so my overall evaluation for the team, can we move to that?
Yes, sure.
All right, so my overall evaluation for today's meeting is very nice. We are here to learn. We are improving our with every single meeting. A little bit of glitches were there, but nothing that we could not overcome. We did overcome all of that, and today's meeting started nicely, ended nicely. That is the biggest proof of that. Plus, we have achieved a huge milestone as we have combined people from different countries, different ethnicities, different religions. So we are all here standing as one. So that's a huge achievement. So a round of applause for everyone here. So with that, I would like to conclude my session and back to you, table topic master.
Yeah, no, Toastmaster. And about that, Toastmaster Majid Akhtar
has to leave. So temporarily, I'm the Toastmaster of the day. And so I will ask everyone to vote for the best Big Four. The poll is being floated online, and also if you flip this paper, the poll for best Big Four is on the other side, and you can pass that on after voting. And yeah, so now I will hand over the charge back to Madam President.
Okay. How long will it take for the votes to get ready?
Well, meanwhile, we can take the guest comments and do
Okay.
the announcements, etc. Yeah.
So there are no online guests. TM Lida and TM Misty, can we have some comments from your side? Okay, we'll move on to the physical guest, DTN Tala. So can we have some?
I think Toastmaster Lydia wants to make some comments. She's here.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I always love visiting your club, and the speeches are always just amazing. I learned so much, and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you.
I would add that it's such a treat to be able to speak to people from so many parts of the world and not be limited to just the physical location where I am. I'm talking to you from the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And it's just amazing. I learn a great deal from just hearing from people from different language backgrounds and from different points of view, from different ethnicities, etc. So thank you very much for allowing me to be included.
Okay, I think we should move on to the physical guests.
Yes. Sorry.
Guests.
Yeah, of course. Guest comments. We can ask three of them to come on the stage. Any three who would like to come and give your comments, please.
Hello. This was a very nice session, but I was expecting TM Ashar Ali Anjum.
Yeah.
So basically, this is my first session in person. However, I have taken some sessions online recorded. Not in this mode continuously 3 hours, but with some breaks. So I was very inspired from the distinguished Toastmaster, Ashar Ali Anjum, because when I watched his first session, when he has just joined the session, I think in 2020.
Yeah.
So he has some streaming issues. So that speech and last time when he was talking about, or he was giving a speech about the black holes. So there is a big difference in between that. So I was very inspired from him, and I would say that this was first session as a guest, and inshallah very soon I'll join as a member of KTC. Thank you so much.
Anyone else who would like to come? Don't hesitate. Yeah, please come on.
Yeah, just after an hectic day at university, I came here and it feels so much relief and an amazing session here for the first time being here. And I feel so much passionate people here who are giving their best for their skills, for their upbringing, and for their enhancement. So inshallah, near in future, I will join this KTC, and also I want to improve my communication skills as all of them and all of us are doing in this session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please. Both of you can come to, no worries. We always ask our guests to speak, preferably at the start and at the end of the meeting, and if not both occasions, at least at the end of the meeting.
It was a wonderful session. Yesterday, I was reading a quote of someone, I don't know his name, that don't be friend with people who are just like you, rather be friend with people who are different from you. So such sessions are a tremendous kind of opportunity to be friend with people from different areas of life, different ethnicities, different languages, different backgrounds. And it's nice to hear different thoughts, to see different personalities, different perspectives. So after a long hectic day at office, this kind of session was, I should say, it was a 3 hours long session, but it was refreshing in a way that I learned a lot. Being a part of an organization and a professional environment, such kind of sessions can improve our communication skills and help us become better professionals. Thank you.
Yes, anyone else wants to share their thoughts? All right. Sure? Yeah. All right. Yeah, Diana, you can write your thoughts in the chat box.
If the time is not running out, if it is, that's okay.
Since you plan to become a member, we can allow you.
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we'll wait for your icebreaker. All right, you can go ahead, Toastmaster Hiba. Hiba is here. Yeah.
Okay, are the votes ready now? Since we have taken the guest comments.
Yes, they are ready. Let me announce them. So first, the best prepared speaker goes to, just give me a second. Yeah. So best prepared speaker today goes to DTM Sarfrazari. Congratulations. Best table topic speaker, surprise, surprise, does not go to Toastmaster Mariam Aftab Kilai. It goes to our guest, Nisar Asadi. Congratulations. Best evaluator today goes by a very narrow margin, the narrowest of margins. It goes to Toastmaster Majid Akhtar, who is here. And best big four today goes to Toastmaster Hina Ali. And as for best facilitator, since 2 of the roles were not taken, I have unilaterally decided to split the award between the people who did take the roles, who is our timer, Toastmaster Zargan, and our president, Toastmaster Hiba Ali, because that is only the second. Finally, the Critics' Choice Award, which is the ranking of the speakers as per the International Speech Contest ballot, and a combination of how closely the speakers met the target. So we announced the top 3 for that. The third position today goes to myself. No, I was not the critic. If I were the critic, I would have placed myself on top. So that alone should convince you that I was not the critic. Second place goes to Toastmaster Lydia Norman. Congratulations. And spoilers ahead, first place goes to DTM Surprise. So with that, Madam President, if you allow me to repeat the announcements, I would like people to take up roles for this Saturday's Academy meeting, and which has at least 2 speech slots, but there can be more as well if you wish to deliver. It will be an online only session. It usually has a keynote. And secondly, of course, for the next meeting as well, since we are running out of time, I won't stop the meeting to actually get the role players right now. Instead, I just request that whenever I upload the roles, please take them up. So over to you, Madam President.
Okay, and I guess every announcements are, I mean, all the announcements are done and the votes have been compiled and announced. So that makes the meeting adjourned.
All right. Thank you so much. We are stopping the live streaming and the recording. Anybody who wishes to say something? It's funny how only after like 2 hours and 55 minutes,